Hey there, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and I'm headed to Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland for yet another new comic book day. Now, anybody who has not followed the channel before, if you're new to the channel, I put out 3 shows a week, but I devote Wednesdays these days to New Comic Book Day. And I'm a little late getting these episodes out because I cannot go down there, film everything, and I don't have time to edit that same day's show. So I put these episodes out either a week or a couple weeks later, and I don't consider me one of those YouTubers who are promoting New Comic Book Day and the books on that particular New Comic Book Day. I consider these more comic book hauls more than anything, and these are just the new comic books that I pick up on this particular New Comic Book Day. So what I do is I go down to Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland. As if you haven't guessed, I'm in Maryland, and we have plenty of LCSs. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of LCSs in this area. And for anybody following the channel, you know I've talked about other shops in this area a lot. But for New Comic Book Day, I choose Third Eye Comics in Annapolis because they buy in bulk. They buy so many copies of each individual book. They buy so many variants, and they end up getting a lot of ratios as well if you're into that kind of thing. So your options, you have a lot of options. I've recently been traveling, and I've stopped at some new comic book shops or comic book shops along the way and done some New Comic Book Day videos there. And those stores don't have the same population to deal with it, so they cannot buy as many comic books. And I found that I could not find some of the books I was looking for, some of the variant covers I was looking for. But at Third Eye, for the most part, you can find just about everything you're looking for, including some of the high ratio books as well. So we're going to head down, and we're going to do like I normally do. I'll film in the store. I'll show you all the new comic books I can find there, and we'll come back. I'll bag and board everything, and I'll sit down and we'll do a little show and tell. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, I just finished up at Third Eye Comics here. I picked up all the new comics I was looking for. Once I get home, I'll bag and board everything, and we'll sit down and we'll do a little show and tell. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
2 hours later.
All right, everybody, I made it back home. I bagged and boarded all the new comics, so let's just get right into it. The big book this week for me was the new Uncanny X-Men book that was coming out. Now, as you guys know, if you follow the channel, I pre-order most of my new comics through M&M Comics 2 to 3 months in advance. But I use New Comic Book Day as a way to get the books that I failed to pre-order or just weren't on the radar at the time of that pre-order, like I said, 2 to 3 months in advance. So I know the big book this week was going to be Uncanny X-Men, the new relaunch and everything. But I had already ordered a couple of the variants that I wanted, plus I had already got the regular issue as well. So there were a couple of variants that I pick up, and that's what I use New Comic Book Day for, is to pick up mostly books that I miss and the variants that may not have been on my radar 2 to 3 months ago. So with Uncanny X-Men, I did pick up this. This is the Disco Dazzler cover. I believe this is, Lobos, as I guess he goes by. And you've got Magic there, sort of in her disco garb. I can't say that I was the biggest fan of this, but I do pick up a lot of his covers. I really like his artwork. He reminds me a lot of Adam Hughes. In fact, first time I saw some of his artwork, I thought they were Adam Hughes covers, and it turns out it wasn't. It was, who is this new guy? But he's been doing some killer covers lately. Spider-Gwen, for example. A couple of those variant covers over the last couple of issues, just absolutely fantastic. I'll admit that this is not one of my favorites from him, but I'm a big fan of Magic and some of the covers that she's on. And the other Uncanny X-Men copy that I picked up was the Negative Space cover with Jubilee here, and I had to write this down. This is, let me see if I can get this right, John Tyler Christopher. I always mess his name up. Seems like we've got a lot of artists these days and writers these days with 3 names in them, but this was a pretty cool cover. I'm not a fan of every one of the Negative Space covers, but I did like this Jubilee cover, so I picked that up for the Uncanny X-Men. Now, there's a few other books that I did get. As I said, I do my pre-order 2 to 3 months in advance, so I do pretty good these days of ordering just about everything I want. But when I go there, there's always things that I just did not know about. In fact, even the day of, I took a recommendation from one of the employees at Third Eye Comics to pick this up. It is from Image Comics. It's called The Power Fantasy. I have no idea what this is, but I picked up a book based on a recommendation from the store. So we'll see how this is. You guys will have to let me know what you think of this. And I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this book right here. I also picked up the latest issue of Space Ghost, number 4. This is the variant cover by Michael Cho. And Michael Cho's the only books, really, the only covers I'm picking up for Space Ghost at this point, because I plan on taking all of these that I've been picking up to the Baltimore Comic-Con to get them signed. This is actually not one of my favorite covers. If you looked at the art for the first 3, and I've even seen the art for the next issue as well, issue number 5, and they're really spectacular. This one, though, I just does not do anything for me. I may not even get this one signed unless I'm getting the whole batch signed. But I do continue picking up these Michael Cho covers. As I said, he's going to be at the Baltimore Comic-Con in September. Honestly, by the time this video comes out, he may be right on top of that con itself. The reason I went ahead and picked this up, even though actually I had already pre-ordered this, by the time my order gets in, it may not get to my door in time for me to go to the Comic-Con. So I wanted to go ahead and get a copy of that just to put it aside for that signing. All right. Another regular issue I've been picking up is Wolverine Deep Cut number 2. And even though I had dropped all of the previous X-Men titles before the new relaunch, I did start this last month with Wolverine Deep Cut, and it's only because Chris Claremont's writing the title, and I don't know, to be honest with you, I haven't got into it that much, but as a collector, I do like to see where some of these things go from some of the classic writers, especially Claremont, who is pretty much the king of X-Men and his X-Men lore, so it's kind of interesting to see what he's going to do with this book right here. I also picked up the regular cover to Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood, and there's various artists and various writers on this, but one of the writers was DeMatteis, who, of course, did Craven's Last Hunt, and I went ahead and picked that up, mostly because of that, to be honest with you. There were some pretty cool variant covers as well that I just did not, nothing really jumped out at me, so I did not pick up any of the variant covers on this book. This is a book that was not on my radar, or I just skimmed over it when I was doing that pre-order, so I went ahead and picked that one up. And then the last three are all variant cover buys for this week. And I've been continuing buying the Spectacular Spider-Men book, but I didn't pick up the regular cover. We're running out of space here, guys. It is the homage to X-Men 141. I kind of liked this, so I picked up the variant cover to that. Gun Honey has been going. Their series that they've been doing right now is called, let me see, what is it called? Collision Course, I believe. But I picked up the variant cover on that. That's a homage to Captain America #1. I thought that was pretty cool. The artwork inside has always been, was really fantastic. I enjoy all of these Gun Honey series for a couple reasons, obviously. But it's actually, the stories are really good. So I hope you guys are continuing to pick up Gun Honey here. And then the last one I picked up was... And the last one I picked up was the latest issue to... And the last one that I picked up was the new series, Gotham City Sirens #1. Now, they had a really good cover for the regular cover by Terry Dodson. And it was good, but it just didn't speak to me. They did have the ratio for that. It was a trade dress, without the trade dress, a virgin version. It still didn't speak to me. And they actually had a really good ratio with Ben Harvey doing some artwork, but I wasn't willing to drop $25 on that, to be quite honest. It was good Ben Harvey artwork, just not my favorite, and I didn't feel like dropping $25 on one of those books like that. But I did pick up this variant cover. It's just a regular cover, but it is a variant, and they've been doing some of these. I guess they're starting to do some of these with the Superpowers toy with some of the characters, and I picked up the Poison Ivy cover for that. I think the same week they had one of the Batman issues. I don't think it's regular Batman, but it's one of the other ones. They've got Batman as he appeared with Ra's al Ghul, the shirtless fight scene. They've got a shirtless Batman as a Superpowers toy. Now, I had some of these Superpowers toys back in the day when I was also reading the comic books, the miniseries, both miniseries. And it's kind of cool to see some of the characters that were not obviously featured in those comics or as toys even back in the day. It is kind of cool to see this. Now, I think I've got a pre-order on this where I did pre-order the Power Girl Superpowers as well. Now, I'm not sure when that's actually going to come out. I know I pre-ordered it, but I'll probably pick up another copy of that on New Comic Book Day when it comes out. But guys, that is it. That is all the new comics that I picked up for New Comic Book Day this particular week. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of all the books I picked up. What do you think about these covers? And what were some of the books that you picked up? I'd love to hear from you. Again, just give me a comment in the comment section below. And if you guys like this kind of content, definitely hit that like, slap the subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the shows that I put out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10. Ooh, I almost made a mistake. It's at 3 p.m. at this point because work hours have changed and I no longer can do 10 a.m. shows. It will have to be at 3 p.m. going forward. So I hope you join me for the shows at 3 p.m. I do live chats during the show, so feel free to check in as soon as the show starts. I'll be there on most shows. On the New Comic Book Day shows on Wednesdays, I am actually in the car headed to Third Eye Comics or one of the other LCSs, so I usually will end up missing that show. But for Mondays and Fridays, definitely I'll be there and we can have a live chat during the premiere of the show. So I hope to see you there, guys. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Take care, and remember, every comic has a story.